You are watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. Join the Business Heroine community today at businessheroinemagazine.com. And now, tune into the show.
Hello, I'm Ann Perry, founder of Business Heroine, and I'm so excited today. This is a very special interview, a series of interviews that we're going to be doing actually. Business Heroine is a very proud sponsor of New Icon, the movie. And I'm sitting here right now with Laura Hollick, and Laura is an award-winning artist, a visionary guide, and multi-six-figure entrepreneur. And on a personal note, one of my all-time favorite entrepreneurs. She is not the starving artist that we are told about. She is a thriving artist. And Laura is the creator of Soul Art Studio, which is a business devoted to circulating love around the planet with creative inspiration. So today I'm connecting with Laura to talk about her latest global arts project called New Icon, the movie. So New Icon, the movie is an innovative, interactive movie experience that guides people through a vision quest to discover their iconic essence. We'll also get to hear from 8 of the new icons who are being featured in New Icon, the movie. So if you've ever wondered how art and business fit together, Laura is someone to learn from. Laura, I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. And I'm so honored that you're a sponsor for this movie because it's truly the bringing together of the creative self with the business self. And I think that that's what a business heroine is. It's really allowing who you are to merge with business and how you connect with the world. So I'm really honored that you're a sponsor for us.
Thank you. Totally. A friend of mine just said the other day, the more authentic you are, the more things work. So
true.
So
it's
true.
So true.
So tell us more about what is New Icon, the movie, and your iconic essence.
For sure. Well, the iconic essence, I'll start there. That's really the core of who we all are. We all have this core quality that has our spiritual blueprint, our divine destiny. It's all within that. And when we tap into it, we understand who we want to be in this world and what we can offer and what we want to express. So I feel that we all are on this journey to connect with that. And then when we do connect with it, it informs us on what we're going to be doing with our life and with our business. So when I took that journey myself, and I continue to take that journey, I realized that we needed like a global vision quest for the world to find out, for each person to know their iconic essence, because I feel like as people tap into that, that is what creates the new reality, each person being who they're really meant to be. So the movie project really started out of this desire to want to help people, guide people, inspire people to discover who they really are so they could create their life in a way that matches them. So the movie is that vision quest to discover the iconic essence and then figure out what you want to do with that.
So brilliant. And it's an interactive movie, which is such a cool concept. It's not like you just watch it passively.
Exactly. Well, now with technology, in the past, we always think of entertainment where we go to a movie theater, we sit down, we watch something, and it sort of feeds us in that way. But now because of the computer, social media, the internet, we have the opportunity to experience a journey over time, to have a journey unfold through engagement of other people and through reflecting on something and let it incubate and develop. So the movie is something that spans actually over a month. And bits of the vision quest are revealed throughout that month, and it all strings together to make one movie. But as it unfolds, the audience is participating. And as they're participating, it shifts the way that the movie unfolds because they start to see it with new eyes, with a new perspective. So it really is interactive in the sense that the audience is experiencing their own vision quest while they're watching the movie.
Well, I'm so excited because this movie is going to activate things for the Business Heroine community in a big way. And so I encourage you, Business Heroine, who is listening here, tuning in, to join this vision quest, because all of us doing it together just makes it even that much more powerful. And the more we step into our own iconic essences and who we are and applying that to our business, it just unleashes so much possibility and really abundance. And that's actually a question that I have for you, Laura, because one of the reasons one of the many reasons you are one of my favorite entrepreneurs is because I always glean such wonderful insights from you about abundance. So in our brief conversation here, if you could impart one golden nugget of wisdom about how to really create abundance doing what you love, and I'm talking about money, financial abundance, what would that golden nugget be?
Okay, well, first, it connects so intimately with the iconic essence, because our iconic essence is an unlimited well of abundance, and it's sustainable and it's ever unflowing. Like there's no end to it. So when we tap into that, we've tapped into the source of abundance. And I feel like that's one of the areas where in business, people, if they don't start from that place, they're starting from a place that will eventually create depletion. And it won't match them in some way. So it might create money initially, but it's not going to be sustainable wealth. So I feel like to create true abundance, sustainable abundance, money, it really starts by having that solid connection, because then you're in the energetic zone, first of all, of sustainability and the well of abundance. Then from there, the inspiration guides you. You'll be able to make decisions from that place. So the structures start to emerge, or even the systems or the team or who you're going to work with. All of those things grow out of that. So my nugget really is do whatever you can to connect with your core wealth. I would call that the iconic essence, your core wealth. Make that a top priority. And then abundance flows from that place.
Yes. Brilliant. So brilliant. And it's a perfect segue into what we're about to do. We're about to meet with 8 of the women who are featured in New Icon, the movie, and I'm going to ask each of them some very juicy questions. So to get that started, Laura, I want to ask you a question that I'm also going to ask the women who are featured in the movie. What does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
To be a new icon really is the claiming of being a leader in your own life, being an artist and a creator of your life, and as a result, you're leading your life, you're creating your life. And I feel like being a business heroine, it's the same idea. You're creating a business, you're creating a career based on who you are. And that is a hero's path, it's a heroine's path to do that, because no one else can tell you who to be and how to think. Nobody can tell you if that decision is right or wrong, but when you can get the answers from yourself, you really do carve out and sculpt a life that is so unique to you. And to me, that is a new icon.
Brilliant. So there's a really cool rainbow theme that is woven into New Icon, the movie. Will you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So we use the rainbow really to highlight how unique each one of us really are. And at the same time, realizing that we really are all colors of the rainbow. I mean, each one of us is a full spectrum of possibility and of expression. And yet at different times and different stages in our lives, we kind of use the vibration of different colors to amplify who we are and to clarify our essence. So there's someone representing each color in the rainbow in the movie, and you'll hear from them in a minute. And that color is really helping to bring forward their unique, iconic essence.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to jump into conversation with all the beautiful colors of the rainbow. Okay. So here we have Summer McStravick, our first new icon that we get to speak with today. And Summer represents the color pink in New Icon, the movie. So Summer is the creator of flow dreaming, which is a method for creating using the living energies of the universe. She teaches us how to use flow and emotion to create spectacular change and growth in our lives. So I can't wait to talk with you about this, Summer.
Me too.
Yeah. So flow dreaming is not a meditation. It's not affirmations or really anything we've ever tried before. But it's a super powerful form of manifesting. Can you give us a sneak glimpse into what this method is all about?
Sure. Well, to start, years back, I had tried all of those methods and many more, creative visualization, everything, that's available out there. And one of the things I always felt was that I wasn't connecting the way I really wanted to connect. So I thought, well, when I'm connecting, I'm feeling a lot of emotion. I'm feeling a sense that I'm truly present in some other place, and I'm truly being heard in that other space. So flow dreaming kind of evolved from that idea that we naturally already daydream. So it's not like with meditation where you have to kind of learn it and practice it and, oh, you're falling out of my ear. So, I started with this idea of daydreaming because that already puts you in another state of mind where you're essentially outside of time and you forget where you are, you forget what you're doing. And I realized this is when we're connecting in all the time to, you could say, our greater selves, I call it flow energy, source energy. So what happens if I start putting a lot of strong directed emotion in there while I'm thinking and dreaming and feeling those things that I want to create, that I want to become? So really it originated from there. And since then it's evolved into a real, it's like a way of living, essentially, where now I'm always emotionally connecting with the universe. I'm always talking to it through this language of my emotion, saying, here's what I'm feeling inside. Here's what I'm feeling about myself. Can you do something with that? Create something from that. Really, flow dreaming sort of developed out of that into a whole philosophy of the way that I think now, the way I approach life now. Every moment we're creating and manifesting. With every thought, every emotion that moves through our body is how we're speaking to the universe. And so when you go to do a certain practice, you're isolating your speaking, essentially. So flow dreaming is a real potent way to isolate your speaking so that you are truly creating, a new template, a new energy in the moment. But also, deeper than that, it becomes a way that I relate moment by moment, discovering really that emotions are so powerful. Flow is so powerful. There is a path of ease for us. And I've never looked back since. So.
I love that. There is a path of ease for us. That's what it's about. That's so great. So
yes.
Why is emotion a key to creation?
Well, like I was saying, your emotion, I think, is the strongest part of you. Our minds are always telling us one thing. And for instance, with affirmations, that's why my mind was always talking them. And I'm like, okay, I'm reprogramming my mind. Nothing wrong with affirmations. But the emotional part of me was always overriding what my mind was telling me to do. It's the classic feeling of, think of the strongest thought you've ever had, and now think of the strongest emotion you've ever experienced. And, one is clearly clobbering the other. And our emotional selves have been so controlled, so shut down. People don't even understand that emotions are a full language. They're just like Laura's language of color. Emotions are a language themselves, and you can use different ones to create and express different things. So sometimes I even call flow dreaming a kind of emotional reconditioning. I also use the term pre-action quite a bit because most of our emotions are based on reacting to things that have already occurred. Like 90% of our day, we're reacting to stuff. And if we reverse that, we become manifestors, which means we are pre-acting what we want our future to serve up to us. So we're creating the emotion now. Instead of responding to the things behind us, we're creating the emotion in front of us for what's going to come next. So that's why for me, if you're not constantly checking in, getting into that flow state of ease, creating those new emotional templates inside yourself, you're missing half the boat, at least when it comes to living and creating and manifesting.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I've never heard it described exactly that way. I love that. The pre-acting and choosing the emotion and experiencing it now instead of after the fact when it's too late. It's like, that's awesome. But also the wisdom that really comes through as you're sharing is that, women in business, this is such a time for women in business.
Yeah.
And, with new Icon, Laura's work and Business Heroine. And, in the past, it's been kind of like, oh, women are so emotional. Like, that's a bad thing.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, it's
wonderful.
A magic tool here. So
It is. I think, too, it's a way that women specifically are made to work. Men are as well. In fact, men and women, I've discovered, have equal emotional repression. Men are told, don't be a sissy. Women are told, don't cry just to get your way. I mean, we constantly receive negative feedback about our emotional selves our entire lives. And people do that. I mean, if something is really strong and powerful, society wants to control it. And that's what it's done with emotion. But like, for instance, in business, when I'm creating and growing my own company, I rely on my emotional self to guide and direct me. Does this feel right? And it goes beyond intuition. I'm really reading the energies, responding to those energies, moment by moment, day by day. When I am, considering anything, I'm asking myself a question, how is this feeling inside? And if I feel a sense of, oh, I better wait, I better get more information, then I go a little deeper. Is that fear talking? Is that my excuse? Is that my rationale? Am I staying in my comfort zone? So there's all these different layers you can work with. And then when you get right down to the core part of yourself and you start pre-acting emotion from that, and you start creating from that part of you, that's where things really take off and go big, big, big. So, I've discovered it for myself, and I teach other people how to do it. As a businesswoman, I'm pretty much of a rule breaker. Because I do what I feel is the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I listen. I approached a lot of strategies that are out there, but ultimately, if it's not easy and doesn't just flow, then I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. Because I've learned that resistance, it's telling me something. It's telling me don't go there. It's not in the path of ease. Pick another path. Choose something else. Mm-hmm. So I even love it when I encounter resistance in my life. I call that a kind of emotion too.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. So, Summer, what does it mean to you to be a new icon and a business heroine?
All right. Well, kind of like I just said, being a new icon for me and a heroine means that the way that I do business, I break a lot of rules. My whole business breaks rules. I mean, who would build a business on something as strange and esoteric as flow dreaming? Mm-hmm. And yet there are women out there everywhere they're doing similar things. So in that sense, I think it's showing people that if you feel it, if it's in you to be created, you can make it viable. It can exist. It has a right to exist. It has a right to grow and live and really call a tribe around it. And so all those naysayers and the people who say, oh, you can't do that, take the safe route, take the mental route. You have to just pause at some point and really ask yourself, if I do that, is that who I am? Or am I becoming what XYZ, society, mom, dad, husband, whatever, says that I am? And I think a lot of women travel that path for a long time. Then they get to a point where they say, what's next? I've maxed this out. I can't do anymore. I want to go bigger. I don't know what that is. And I say, okay, it's time to take the covers off all this stuff because, there is a next place, but it's about you and your expression and that self-trust that your expression is going to be received. The universe will accept it. There is a flow for you in your life. And if you're in alignment with yourself, you're in alignment with where your vision is going, you're going to be successful. So
awesome. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Miss Beautiful Pink Summer McStravick. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so here we have Alia Hall. And Alia is an electronic musical artist and DJ sharing musical medicine on stages worldwide. She's the founder of Femvolution and mentors successful businesswomen who are longing to express their creativity, offering them a path to transcend the limited blueprint that they've been in so they can rise into the fullest expression of their artistry. And Alia is representing the color red in New Icon, the movie. So thank you for joining us, Alia.
Thank you, Anne. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So your career path is really interesting, and a lot of the business heroines are, maybe stuck in sort of a box type career and looking to break into entrepreneurship. So you made the transition from your role as a corporate marketing executive and went on a path to become an independent artist. So tell us, what were the key shifts that you made to go from feeling cut off from your creative force in your job to becoming flourishing as an artist and a leader?
Well, one of the first and primary shifts I made was I made a really simple decision. And that decision was to reorient my life around more pleasure and more joy and more happiness. And I think that subtle shift was, a huge shift, and also subtle in the many ways that it can work through your life and the many choices that you can make. But really, when I went down that path of choosing those things that had me feel that way, more and more opportunities opened up that would have me feel that way. And music was one of those things. And in many ways, it kind of surprised me the way all of a sudden musical opportunities started sprouting. But I really think that it was because I was making that internal shift in myself to really just reach for and look for the things that were going to have me feel the best. And when I started performing as a DJ and musical artist, it was just so much fun. And it was completely outside of the paradigm of what I thought I would be doing or what I was trained to do or, what my parents thought I would do. But it was so much fun. I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. This is working, and as I kept making those choices, more opportunities kept coming. And so, here I am 4.5 or so years later and playing on international stages. Wow. And, I've been making my own music the last couple of years, and I didn't necessarily know that was coming either. I had a lot of early musical training, but it was more of a hobby at the time. And it was more, for lack of a better way of saying it, more of a way of filling out my college application, because that's really what I was being trained into was like to go into a more serious quote unquote career. And so it was a coming back home. It was a reclamation of my creative spirit to find that again. And I found that as we trust it, as we let ourselves just surrender to it, as we let ourselves just fall deeper and deeper into whatever our passion is, without, letting go of wherever it might go or what it would look like, or if it's acceptable to people in our lives, all of those things, we just have to kind of clear ourselves out of a lot of that noise, clear ourselves out of a lot of, what our environment is telling us, and come inside, listen to ourselves, allow ourselves to actually follow whatever those impulses are. And I think those, that's really at the core of what helped me make that shift.
That is so powerful. I would love to see, career counselors in high school and college say, just choose what is bringing you more pleasure.
Right. I know. My life would have looked so different for the first, couple decades.
What a powerful decision, though. Like, I'm just going to follow pleasure. And it's you're an example, just like Laura, of the thriving artist, where it's like by trusting that and following it, you're just opening opportunities for abundance that wouldn't be there when you are forcing or struggling, to fit yourself into a box that, is, like you said, considered the serious career or more professional or something. It's like you can be professional and be a musical artist and DJ with musical medicine, and why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you're building the business of you, and you can still approach it like a pro and like an entrepreneur. You can still, really be savvy about the way that you do that and bring all of your business skills to apply to that. And that's what I've been doing. All of that early business training has actually really served at this time, because it's made me much more savvy about how to grow myself.
Yeah. That's so cool. So, all right. So you're a DJ, because it's super fun. And also you do musical medicine. So I would love to hear, what is musical medicine?
Well, for me, what that means is I approach the creation of a set or a performance as medicine, as an opportunity for healing for all involved, as an opportunity for us to really go deep into ourselves and to unlock parts of ourselves that, haven't been unlocked before. And so I'm always moving with the energy of the room or the space where I'm playing, and with the people, and I'm weaving in prayer, and I'm weaving in, intentions and all of these things in order to actually create an activated experience, something that goes well beyond just the music, but like something that creates unity, something that creates an opening, something that actually accesses something for people. And I found that music itself can be so healing. It's such medicine in itself. And then when you bring that to an experience, when you bring that intention of the experience being medicine, it just activates people in a way that they're often just, coming up to me afterwards, like, what happened? What did you do? That was amazing, and I think it's really all about the intention that you bring to creating the experience.
That is so awesome. So cool.
Yeah.
So, Alia, I want to ask you what I've been asking and plan to ask all the icons who are joining us today. To you, what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
To me, what it means to be a new icon and a business heroine, it means that we are charting our own path, that we're embracing those things that are truly unique about us. And we're weaving together offerings that are a true reflection of our unique gifts and talents and skills and experiences and passions. And we are savvy about the way that we share them and sharing them in a way that we know will create resonance and will help support us and for giving our gifts to the world. And I think also, we're allowing ourselves to leave that blueprint of how we've been taught to express ourselves and stepping into being radical models of self-expression and really of being the people that are leading the way for others to truly embrace what makes them different and to step out of hiding.
Brilliant. Radical models for self-expression. Let's go ahead and tweet that one. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was so awesome talking with you.
It was great talking with you. Thanks so much, Anne.
Yeah. Okay, so here we have Liz DiAlto. And Liz is the creator of Wild Soul Movement, which is a sensual practice of self-discovery that combines movement, mantra, and meditation. And Liz's mission is to lead women to self-trust, self-love, and self-acceptance so that they can be sourced from within. And Liz is representing the color orange in New Icon the movie. Woohoo! Nice. So, Liz, a big theme for you in your life and work is wild and free. Why are those your driving forces?
For me, I spent a lot of my life seeking external validation. In my early 20s, it was through career. It was through performance and achievement. At other times, once I'd become a personal trainer, it was through literally my external appearance, like having a tight body and things like that. And even at one point, I remember thinking, oh, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. And what it all really came down to was how did I think all of these things would make me feel? And so that's where free comes in, right? Because I thought there would be an element of freedom, that I would feel enough, I would feel good when I had enough or was enough. So it was getting back to almost like a remembering of who I really am. And I got permission to do that and go there and explore when I decided to let wild be a driving force and be like, you know what, I am like a woman is a wild being. Like there's that primal element, how I move. Even like I never used to wear my hair out like this. I would keep it back. It felt messy. Embracing the mess, embracing the earth, going outside, allowing myself to connect really like with that nature and that power and that energy of wild is really where I found freedom. So that's kind of how they drive me. And that's something in my work that I just invite women to figure out what it means for them, because it is different for everybody.
So beautiful. And so your work, Wild Soul Movement, I would love to hear about this, because recently I had an aha, sort of like I understood this logically, but I had one of those in my cells understandings.
Yes.
That my body is not a barrier between me and spirit, but rather my body is a portal or an access point to spirit. And I was like, ooh, mind blown. So what can you share with us, Liz, about movement as access to spirituality?
So that's exactly right. Your body is the access point. It's like the communication, the miracle vessel. And so I love the term. Are you familiar with Martha Beck?
Yeah.
So I read her book last fall called Finding Your Way in a Wild New World. And one of the things she talks about, there's this exercise in sense drenching, where you literally, it's almost like a meditation. In fact, it might be where you try to just recall various senses, like all the best of your
best experiences with each sense. So the thing that tastes the best, smells the best, feels the best, and you get into the state of sense drenching. And that's when I realized, you hear people talk all the time about being present. Well, what's the best way to be present? It's to feel. It's to engage your senses. And for women especially, but all people, our intuition, which I really believe is our connection to source speaking through us, shows up differently for us. So for me, I know when something's like true, I'll start crying and it'll be one of those cries. Like a lot of women will have this, I'm crying. I don't even know why I'm crying. Maybe, and for me, I realize I'm just recognizing truth. I'll get waves of goosebumps. Sometimes it'll be other things. I've been noticing lately if the goosebumps come on my left, my feminine side, or my right, my masculine side. And just, there's so much information. So by allowing your body to put it the way you did, which I love, to be the access point, you get to be curious and you get to be a detective. And the search for meaning and connection becomes so much more personal. And it's just like we said with Wild Soul Movement and the Wild and Free, instead of seeking it all out here, it's coming from, that's what I mean by source within, right? It's coming from in here. And there's an element of trust that everything I need has always been inside of me. And it's just a matter of how can I access it? How can I listen? How can I tune in more? And it certainly takes practice. Some people it's very natural. Some people it's not. But with intention, focus, and practice, anyone can have that.
So brilliant. And something you said for me just really clicked and kind of made me understand why that our bodies are access point. Because when you said, you know, we talk a lot about being present. And if our access point to the now and to spirituality is through the now and being present, that's the bridge. And how do you get present is tuning into your senses and being here now in your body. Yeah, so brilliant. I know for me it's been a path because I'm like one of those people that can just stay in my brain and my headspace forever. So thank you for doing this work in the world. It's so powerful.
Yeah, thank you. And you are not alone. So many women, it's just like, oh, get to the body. That's where all the good stuff is.
Yeah, yes. I've tasted it and I want more.
Yes.
So Liz, tell us, what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
I love, to me, like both terms, the word that comes up for me is truth. It's when you have that connection and when you have that trust and when everything that you're expressing is you fully expressed. It's just peeling back the layers. My little microphone. I knew this was going to fall out. That's how I am, though. I don't edit things. This is what's happening right now. It's peeling back the layers. It's exposing yourself. It's getting vulnerable to whatever is your current boundary, whatever is your current edge. And then just like constantly taking it a little bit further, but always respecting what are my current limits? Where do I need to go next? And I find, and what's the most amazing thing, it might sound super selfish, but if I just go where I want to go, there will be people who also want to go there. So if I'm just listening, if I'm having fun, I'm passionate, like feeling super creative and expressing what I want to express, I'm always going to get the best people in my business, in my audience, because they're picking up exactly what I want to put out into the world.
Truth. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Liz, for joining us in this conversation. All right. Now, here we have Laura Hames Franklin. And Laura is the creator of Superhuman School, which is a virtual Hogwarts for entrepreneurs, leaders, and visionaries. So Laura is known as the entrepreneur's secret weapon because, like a real-life Hogwarts, Superhuman School creates a magically powerful space where creative, incredible shifts happen, skills are finessed, and new realities are birthed. And Laura represents the color yellow in New Icon the movie. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to talk with you about this. I love the concept of a Hogwarts for entrepreneurs. And in case anyone listening doesn't know what Hogwarts is, that's the Harry Potter wizard school. So, Laura, you say that we can harness the 90% plus untapped potential of our brains and our bodies, that we're really capable of experiencing unlimited energy, peace, health, and superhuman powers. So tell us about this. How do we access this?
So what exists in the universe is a web of energy, a web of information. When you look at the stars and the galaxy, we see infinite wisdom, infinite power and energy. And within our bodies, within our brains, for example, we actually have as many neurons as there are stars in the galaxy. So our brains have the capacity to harness and access power and insight and wisdom and intuition almost as a reflection of the power we see in the galaxy. And our bodies as well are a web of, we kind of think of them often, they're like something we have to kind of pull around with us, and they can get tired and we have to feed them, and, they can take effort, we feel tired. But when you know how to actually kind of tune into the brilliance that is living you. So right now, you are breathing, your blood is circulating, your cells are reproducing, your hair is growing, you're digesting your last meal. There's this infinite wisdom that we all have within our bodies that is life. And when we can access that, which most of us have absolutely no awareness of, then that's when the real power is almost like gifted to us, and miracles happen, and, we start to be able to access the potential that humans really have.
Wow. It's so amazing how these conversations, there's just this synchronicity. You would think it's planned, but it's not, because we were just talking about bodies as an access point to all of this magic that life has to offer. So I love that we get to jump into this a little deeper.
Yes.
So, but I would love to hear from you, what do you see for entrepreneurs who, we're hearing about this 90% untapped potential. So
Yes.
For the entrepreneurs who haven't reached their full potential, what do you see is the missing key there?
Yes. Well, I really see that, entrepreneurs, they look out, they look, what can I do? What can I create? And they look in, they notice, okay, where am I limited? Where am I blocked? What is going on inside of me? I feel like many of entrepreneurs currently, particularly the more spiritual entrepreneurs, they are aware of that. And I see the next piece, the key really is that intersection between the out and the in. So right now, we're conversing through the internet, through a computer, through two computers, and the web between us both. And the way that we are, having an insight, having, our creative flow happening, and then putting it out into the world, or the way that we are seeing the world and using that to inspire our own inner process, it's like the point between those two is the computer, which is your body. It's like we are the computer system that's accessing the web and able to communicate through that. And I call that the inner web that we're accessing. And if our body is clogged up with stuff we've downloaded from the internet, our past, fears and memories, and our, liver is storing lots of anger, and it's maybe connected to, our father who is an alcoholic, and that's maybe affecting our lungs. It's like we literally don't have the updated computer to be able to clearly upload and download. It's like you try and upload something and it's like, why is this taking forever? Yeah. Why isn't it working? Why am I blocked? And it's literally because your computer needs upgrading.
Oh my gosh, what a brilliant analogy. We get the antivirus software for the computers, unless you have a Mac, it comes without it. And we upgrade the operating system when it's starting to get sluggish. Sometimes we have to add more space, so we have to clear out all the old files that we're not using anymore. What a brilliant analogy. I love that.
Yeah, and then we can access the web, which is infinite.
Yeah.
You know, the internet is constantly, people are adding to it, you know, downloading from it. It's constantly changing. It's never static. And we are that. It's literally like we're a computer plugged into the internet, which is also constantly changing. And the clearer we are and the faster our computer hard drive is, then the quicker we're able to do that, the quicker we're able to create, the quicker we're able to actually, you know, reach potential, which, is a bit of a trick, really, because potential never ends. So, you know, it's like, it's ever increased. It's like, when is the internet ever done?
Right. Yeah.
It's not, really.
Right. Wow. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Laura, tell us, for you, what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
Yeah, so for me, it is that passion and commitment to going into the web, you know, going into the web of, like, why am I here? Why am I a part of the web? Like, it's almost like, why do I have a Facebook profile? Why do I matter? Who am I connected to? How much change can I inspire? And how can I do that to a deeper and a more heart-filled, like, ever, kind of like, I guess, more like in a way that supports nature as opposed to destruction. So how can I be me and catalyze change in the world and make a difference and be a part of the leaders and world changers, but from a place where it's from that wisdom of heart, of creation, of life, of nurturing, of nature.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for joining us. It was awesome to get some of your Hogwarts magic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
So here we have our beautiful green goddess of the new Icon movie, Jess Johnson. And Jess is a songstress, an activist, social entrepreneur, facilitator, and a shameless stand for liberation and expression of the heart. Jess is founder of Genes for Justice and author of The Heartist's Way, and she uses art, music, embodiment, and play to connect people to their hearts and living a life of personal, emotional, and spiritual freedom. So welcome, beautiful green Jess.
Thank you, Anne. It's so good to be here. I'm so happy to be chatting with you right now.
Me too. Jess and I know each other personally, and we're fans of each other. Okay, so fondness abounds. So Jess, I would love to talk with you about personal freedom and the role of emotion. So what do you feel is the role of emotion in connecting to your personal freedom?
Yeah, it's, I think I want to start with with what happens when we're not connected. So much of the work that I've done with Genes for Justice in particular deals with trauma and pain. And so what I've seen in my own life and in so many other people's lives is that when we're stuffing down our emotions and when we only have certain aspects of emotion online, like a lot of us, even from the time we're young, feel like, okay, it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to feel excited. It's really good to feel happy. You know, we have this idea of what's good and bad. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like there's a lot of judgment that's locked up. And some people have have had tangible trauma when rage has experienced violence or grief they associate it with depression. And so I think that there's such a stuffing down of our emotions from a young age that it tends to kind of keep us on the spectrum of feeling from maybe here to here, because this is what's safe to feel. And so my journey and what I feel so connected to is I had a time in my life where I felt really numb because I was only feeling maybe from here to here on my vast emotional spectrum. And when I started to allow myself to just broaden that, started to allow myself to experience grief and experience anger, then I started to like I'd always been a pretty happy person, but I found that my happiness became fuller, richer, more real. And then I found myself also being able to connect with so many other people in a very authentic and vulnerable way. And so I think that emotional freedom creates intimacy with ourselves, like the ability for my internal state to reflect externally in how I'm sharing. And then it also, I feel like, creates intimacy with loved ones, with family, with friends, and, you know, and even in our businesses, if we're allowing ourselves to be real with what we're feeling inside. And so it just feels like, to me, that is a huge part of personal freedom, is playing the full range, the full spectrum, like laughing like a crazy person when I'm so filled with that being real for me, and then like experiencing deep grief when that feels what's real, and not limiting myself or putting myself or ourselves in a box that's this big of what's acceptable and okay.
Yeah. And it's like the emotions that are sort of more acceptable and okay are the happy ones. Like, it's okay to express happiness and, you know, joy, only if it's not the crazy person laughing too hard, right?
Yeah, it's like not too much. Yeah.
Not too much, just as long as it's, But what I'm hearing is that when you allow yourself to really go into the, you know, the shadow emotions that are not so necessarily pleasant or as accepted, like the grief, you know, it's like a scary place to go is to dive into grief or to dive into anger. But what it sounds like, what I'm hearing you say, is that when you do that, when you have the courage to do that, it frees you so that you can experience the joyful and happy and wonderful emotions, even with more intensity and aliveness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a big piece of that also is in embodiment. Like, if we can feel and track where the sadness or where the grief or where the pain or where the frustration lives in our body, then it can serve as an anchor that allows us to work with it exactly where it lives inside of our body. So it doesn't just become this like reckless tangent in our mind, but we can actually bring it down into the body and be like, oh, I'm feeling fear and it lives in my belly right now. And then we can start to engage with that. And there's so much freedom in that, because a lot of times then it loses this sort of idea that we're going to lose ourselves in feeling. And actually we gain ourselves in feeling. We gain connection to ourselves and others when we feel. And so that, to me, like, emotional freedom is just directly linked with the willingness and ability and courage to feel what's real.
Awesome. So your music is, it really is heart opening. And for me, I have to say, I'm not like so immersed in the music world. So for me, when I encountered your music, it actually did something kind of surprising to me. I was like, whoa, I could get lost in this music. And it's so beautiful and so simple. And talking about bringing this and emotional freedom and vulnerability to the body, would you grace us with a 30-second or 1 minute just song?
Yes, I would love to. I happen to have my little ook right here, my little best friend.
And let me just say something to our audience before you start.
Yeah.
Is I want to invite you to really let this into your heart, because it's not a small thing. It's not just a cute song. It's not, I mean, Jess is adorable and cute, but this is not like cute. It's powerful. Like, it really is heart opening and spirit expanding. So I just invite you to look in Jess's eyes and like receive this song.
Thank you, Anne. Yeah. And so this song is really, I'm going to sing a verse that's really just dedicated to anyone who is feeling like they're at a transition point right now. And so if you can feel in your body, in your life, where you're at a transition point right now, and any emotions that you feel, fear or anxiety, sadness, excitement, stress, whatever that is, this song is a little bit of medicine for that. Well, this is so out of tune. Can you hear how out of tune it is?
No.
Okay. The winds of change are blowing wide and free. Ancient wisdom, bring me home. The oceans carrying the mist, hurry as I find home inside my heart. Sacred water, wash away my pain. Heal my body through your rivers and rain. Sacred water, wash away my pain. Heal my body through your rivers and rain. So I will end the song there.
Thank you so much. What a treat. And thank you for taking the extra time to do that. And I want to ask you, in closing, the question that I've asked each of the women here, and just very briefly, what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
So, to me, both of them, I want to answer almost together. It's embodying your essence. To be a business heroine to me, and to be a new icon to me, is about being the most authentic, fullest, most vibrant. And when I say vibrant, I bring in that full range. Like, not just the most vibrant when I'm at my personal best, but it's like fully accepting and embracing and loving and being ourselves in our work, in our community, in our family, as leaders, as women, and bringing that full range of expression and permission and invitation and liveliness and emotionality and freedom, and putting that in, and so that we can embrace that full spectrum. And so that's, to me, what it means to be a business heroine. It's like we don't have to leave a part of ourselves behind. Like, that's that heroic part of business, is that it can be so sacred and so life affirming. And same thing with new icon. It's like any part of me can be free to be expressed and embodied, and that's like the totality of that iconic essence. So that's what those, like, they really can kind of bring them together with that same answer. So thank you for asking that question.
Yes, perfect. I love it. All the spectrum. And today, Jess is green in the beautiful spectrum of New Icon the movie. So thank you, Jess, so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Anne. It was so good to see you.
Okay, so welcoming in the beautiful Ariel White. Ariel is an artist, entrepreneur, activist, and embodied muse of the modern Renaissance. Ariel is founder of Evo Lover, an online platform for women's sensual and creative expression. And Ariel makes love art as a way of life. And she's representing turquoise in the New Icon movie. Welcome, Ariel.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you.
So good to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels good. It's you've been with us all day, and even though we're on Skype, I feel you with us up here in Canada.
Oh, yay. So, Ariel, I would actually love to start by asking you what love art is.
Well, love art. So making love art. So there's a few things going on there. It's this idea of when we make love, literally, when we're in love making, or when we're living our lives fully, we have the ability to create more love. So they say that energy can't be destroyed, but we can transmute things that may not be love or may not be attuned with that vibration of love. We can take all these things, stress or pain or shame, and if we choose to, we can take those and convert them through our heart, and we can make more love in the world. And so I feel like that's a choice that we can make. And so that's, it's also a play on words, making love art. But when you ask what is love art, I would say it is every time that we choose love instead of collapsing in, or instead of limiting ourselves, or instead of being scared to take that step beyond our comfort zone. Every time we transcend those limitations and express fully or stand up for the right thing, or whatever that is that's making you feel more alive, I would say that's love art. Because the kind of love I'm talking about is that liberated life impulse that intrinsically is in every single cell of existence, every tree, every ocean, every heart at the deepest level. It's that intrinsic life impulse. And I feel like when we tap into that and take risks to express that and to create our lives based from that place, that is love art. And that is one aspect of making love art.
I love that. And, when you were speaking and you said choosing love instead of, my mind was thinking, immediately went to the opposite of love is hate. So it was like choosing love instead of hate. That's just sort of like what came through. But what you said was choosing love instead of collapsing and shrinking in. And this just opened up for me that love is expansion, or it's like something to expand into. It's the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is restricting or constricting or shrinking away. And so there's like a courage that is required to expand into love and show up fully and vulnerably be present for it.
Yes, that really resonates with me.
So Ariel, I want to talk about beauty too. Tell us how beauty is related to creating what we want in life.
Yeah. Well, one thing that touches my heart is this notion that beauty is infinite, and there's always deeper levels of beauty that we can access and tap into. As all human beings, I really focus working with women. And I feel like a collective wound or trauma that women are carrying right now is so much pressure to be beautiful. And if you're not beautiful, you're not worthy of certain things in life, and all of this madness. And the irony is the quality of beauty that I feel like we're conditioned to think is beautiful, that's not even actually beauty. Because beauty has no conditions. Beauty is so far beyond the surface level. And that's why I really turn to nature as our greatest teacher of what beauty is. It's that pure, natural, intrinsic, once again, life-affirming essence that is within all of us. And when we strip away layers and are able to come from that place, that inner source, and radiate that out, that's what beauty is. And that same process is we need to be able to go to those depths and radiate from that core essential part of ourselves to create what we want in business and love and relationship and our relationship with ourselves. And so for me, beauty is our birthright, and it belongs to all women. It belongs to all of humanity. And beauty is not something that is, a privilege just for a select few. It's like if we actually find a way of walking into the forest we can access beauty, and it's free and it's pure and it's not about commoditizing anything. And I feel like when we look at most magazines, one of the reasons I'm so passionate in my company about producing imagery where there's no retouching or and we're not manipulating the women that we're shooting is because we want that raw essence to come through, because that's beauty. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, usually when we look in a magazine, we're seeing these crazy, distorted, manipulated images that are supposed to be beautiful, and they're selling beauty. And I'm calling bullshit on that. That's not what moves my soul. That's not what brings me to tears and awe of the beauty of the world. It's not that. And so I'm wanting to really help restore a aligned perspective with what beauty is. And I feel like the more we do that for ourselves, the more authority we have in feeling that way, which is so beautiful for us to feel that, and then to create a life that reflects that inner beauty.
Wow. Yeah. Can I get an amen? Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love what you said. That's not the beauty that moves you to tears in awe of beauty. That's not it. So I love that. Thank you for being a voice for that in the world. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So Ariel, tell us from your perspective, what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
So when I tune into it, I see new icon and business heroine. They're like making out with each other right now. So it's hard to like pull them apart. So we'll see how this comes out. But to be a new icon, it really relates to everything that I've been inspired to share with you thus far. I feel like that intrinsic, life-affirming, exuberant place that lives within us, learning to access that is at the core of being a new icon. And it doesn't mean that that's always easy. So I feel like there is something revolutionary about being a new icon. And it's also distinguishing different layers of what revolutionary means, and distinguishing different layers of what is my unique imperative, what is my unique calling in ushering forth a revolution. And that could be really subtle. Not everyone needs to be out there with a megaphone. Not every volume has to be turned up a high voltage. It could be simply, like for example, I imagine you have an incredible team, and there's certain people who are angels that are behind the scenes and no one even knows about them, but they are weaving threads into this greater collective awakening that I think we're all tag teaming right now. And perhaps there's thousands of us, but pretty soon millions, and then beyond that. And so I do feel like new icons, this is just one aspect, but they are embodying what is uniquely revolutionary about themselves, and they are fully expressing that, and they won't stop short of victory. Beautiful. New icons live victorious. That's their nature. And the last thing I'll share on it is I feel like, and this ties over to Business Heroines, I would say that part of being a new icon and part of being a business heroine is claiming that unique imprint, but then also recognizing that we're not alone. I feel like to be heroic, especially as women, so much of it is about the tribe and really aligning with and trusting and loving and encouraging each other. So I said that victory piece. It's like, and then banding together, and we have this like rally song. We're like rallying together. I feel like that I can feel like a lot of excitement in my body when I just sing these words. I see us banding together as women, and that is essential in being business heroines. I don't think that we can be solitary business heroines. Somehow that's incongruent.
Totally.
The way we are heroic is through the tribe and that through that unification. And it's also so much more fun and enjoyable. And so to be a business heroine, and this relates so much to the new icon as well, we recognize that if you've heard of caterpillars and how they metamorphose into butterflies, there's a few, it's not a substantial portion, but there's a few, they're called imaginal cells within the butterfly. And at a certain point, they're almost like these, they're not sleeper cells, but they're these unique cells, and there's not very many of them. And at a certain point, they activate. It's like, okay, it's time. They galvanized it, and they activate, and they communicate. And then pretty soon, the entire caterpillar becomes that, and the metamorphosis begins, and it no longer is a caterpillar. It goes into the cocoon and becomes the butterfly.
Wow.
So I feel like business heroines are very much imaginal cells. And right now we're galvanizing and uniting, and I'm voting for a butterfly.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much, Ariel. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, this is a new symbol. This is business heroine.
Totally.
That's awesome.
So now we get to talk with Jody England. And Jody is really a bridge between worlds. She's the host of Wild Soul Medicine Radio and the visionary behind Untamed You. She's a seer, truth teller, and galactic emissary championing the return of essence and freedom. Jody represents the color indigo in New Icon, the movie. Welcome, Jody.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. It's so good to see you again. We've interviewed Jody for Business Heroine before, so this is the return of Jody.
Yes,
Yay.
Glad to be back.
So, I love your work, and it's all about essence, and I would love to hear, what do you think are the biggest fears that women really have about showing up in essence?
Yeah, I think, there are so many fears. There's probably more fears than freedoms around it. But, lots of us are afraid that if we show up in essence, people aren't going to get us, or they're not going to like us, or subconsciously we might even believe we're too much for them. That if my full shininess was brought to bear, we might blow the doors off the place. And so there's really every reason to remain small and to just keep being safe and keep being acceptable and nice. But, it kills your soul. It kills your soul because there's not actually any truth in that. So you can only fake it for so long, and then your soul starts to wither because it doesn't actually get to come out and play.
On the other side of that, the fears about showing up in essence and the restriction, and what would really be possible for a woman who decides to muster the courage and do what she needs to do to fully show up in her essence? What's possible for her?
Really everything is possible. Everything is possible from essence. And until we get the courage to actually show up there, we really aren't even in our lives. And so, there's a thing happening that, you're going through some motions, but you're not actually in it. And what I've experienced, every level that I drop deeper into who I really am is more and more rich and deep and beautiful. There's happiness, there's feeling, there's just this sense of aliveness that there's no other way to access.
And so, how do you access it? Like, what is the jumping in point to shedding the things that are holding us back? And I guess I have a couple of questions tangled in one, but do women know that they are holding back on their essence, or are they aware of that? And whether they aren't, how can they tap into really access that essence?
Yes, I think, there's different levels of awareness. So I know for much of my life, I did not know that I wasn't in essence, but I did have this gnawing sense that there was more to this life, but I still thought it was out there. I thought it was outside of me. And so I kept doing more things to try to figure out what it was. And And it was only when I stopped and really started waking up to like inquiring around what is this thing that's missing, and was shocked to find out that the thing that was missing was actually me, me being in the life. And I think that's really the biggest misconception that women have, is that somehow they can get to essence by doing something outside of themselves, that they can take a course, or they can, have an experience, or get in a relationship, or have a baby, or any of those things, and have that make them more of who they are. But the only way to be in essence is to intimately know who you are. And so that takes going inward. It takes quiet time and solitude and excavation work, and, healing your traumas and your wounding, and then listening, then as that gets more and more clear, like listening to what's happening in there and what's wanting to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so doing this work, it sounds like just the ultimate sense of aliveness and freedom. And, a conversation that has been emerging in all of these conversations that we've had today is so much about going in and being the authentic you, and tapping into that authentic you, and what becomes possible there, and how that's actually the access point to not just personal fulfillment, but like the life that you actually want, and your business clicking in a way that feels in flow, and money coming in easily versus it being struggle, like all of that when you are zoned in on who you really are, the essence of you.
Yes. And I mean, don't we all want someone to tell us? We want someone to do it for us, or to show us the way, but no one can actually do it, because you're the only one who is you and who knows you. And so, yes, there might be guides along the way, but really it comes down to you actually, sitting still and being willing to be with you. And that's how you're going to discover what your essence is.
Mm-hmm. So I love to dream about how the world can change with, all of this work that we've talked about. Everybody is a beautiful color on this rainbow spectrum, or a piece to the puzzle that really is leading us to a new world. And what would be possible for the world if every woman showed up in essence?
I love that question. It's one of my favorite visions, because it's really, the definition of essence is it's the true invariable nature of a thing. And so if we were all walking around in the truest source and sense of our nature, right? We would be showing up in peace and authenticity, and we would be attracting that and creating that and seeing that in others. So it really isn't pie in the sky to say, like, if we show up in essence, there will be world peace. How could there not be? Because who we really are is that. Mm-hmm. And when we see it and know it for ourselves, then it naturally shows up in the world.
So beautiful. So it's not even a selfish quest. It's a giving quest. It's what changes the world one person at a time. And it's like that quote, is it Howard Thurman, don't ask what the world needs, ask what lights you up, and go and do that, because what the world needs is people who are lit up. Something
Absolutely.
Like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, I totally agree with that. And also it's a slippery slope, because we start to think like, oh, I'll do this for world peace. And then we bypass actually doing it for ourselves, So we actually truly have to let go of doing it for any reason other than it is the ends and the means in and of itself. And there happens to be a cool byproduct when you let go.
Yes. Awesome. So great. Mm-hmm. So Jody, tell us from your perspective, what is a new icon, or what does it mean to be a new icon and a business heroine?
To me, it really means a woman who knows herself and who is herself, and someone that's courageous and willing to push the paradigm, not only out in the world of like what is acceptable and, how do we do this thing of essence, but also, pushing the paradigm within herself always, because there's always the next edge of what your essence wants to express or what you're ready to unfold into. And so a new icon is a woman who knows she's never finished, and she's always reaching and pushing into the next uncomfortable space in order to be more fully who she is.
Awesome. Thank you. This is definitely a theme today, being fully who you are. And it is a clue to having a business and a life that you love. It's not even a clue. It's it's the recipe, basically, right? Yeah. Well, Jody, thank you so much for joining us and joining the conversation today.
Thank you, Anne. It's so great to be here. I appreciate you being here.
And now let's welcome in Cora Flora. And Cora is a soul blossoming musician on a mission to share the healing vibrations and messages of divine love music. And Cora represents the color purple in the rainbow of New Icon, the movie. So welcome, Cora.
Yeah, thank you.
So I know that you are passionate about music and the music industry. I would love to hear, what is your dream for the music business?
Yeah, well, this question is just something that came to me because I studied the music business, and I've also, on the last couple of years, I've been really exploring online marketing and this whole online business thing. And I keep waiting to see how it's going to apply to music, because since the internet came along, the whole, music industry as we knew it has been crumbling, and we've been, different people have been finding their own way through it. And, so it's just something that I'm very interested in, and I haven't yet figured out, but it's something that I'm just really aware of and excited to explore. I feel like more and more, I know for me, as I'm awakening spiritually, it's my music is shifting and my concerts are shifting because they're becoming these sacred containers to welcome divine love and guidance and healing energy that can really benefit people. And I'm excited to see how this is going to flow into the business structures, with love and integrity and light and intention, because I feel like there's a lot of ego in that business. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't really feel good to me. And I am very inspired by people like Laura Hollick, who've created businesses based on their soul. And so that's what I'm here to do. It's still in spiritual, not quite super solid state yet, but it does exist. And I'm excited to see how it blooms.
That's so awesome. I love that you are sharing that from this space too, because, I had this insight a couple months ago where I went, having all the answers, like being attached to having all the answers and having that pride of I know what I'm talking about, I have it all together, really blocks what's possible. And this phrase came to me, pride blocks prosperity. And because if you can't be willing to receive answers from the outside or answers from others or answers from spirit, then how can you receive prosperity or money or anything like that in business success? And so I love that you're sharing with us in that way, that the power really is in the inquiry here. And I have a feeling you'll be really a leader in creating what's possible for the music business, because that comes to my mind too. I'm on one hand, with social media, you can, there's this tool available that you can be seen and experienced and discovered, I guess. You have that more in your hands as opposed to being found by some outside person. And at the same time, how music gets shared and, album sales and concerts and MP3s and all of that stuff. So I'll be really interested to follow what you are creating as far as that goes, leading the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. And I would love to hear more about your music and your art, so you talk, it's like these healing vibrations and divine love. What is a concert of Cora Flora like?
I've just been because I have songs that are my traditional sort of way. I love crafting songs where they're this little map, this little journey that I can take people on. That's usually healing or enlightening, or it's capturing some kind of divine realization that I love to share. But more and more, it's opening up where, with other people and sometimes by myself, I'm able to open up present moment portals of divine connection and improvised, channeled music that is just so magical. And it's the most blissful thing to experience it. It's just I I can't even describe it. It feels like just being in love and being bliss and just being so energized and inspired. And to me, it's taking music to a whole nother level where it isn't just the art of sound, but instead it's really receiving that vibration of the divine, because I feel like it does have that power.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have a question that I'm very curious about your perspective here, because you are another, like Laura, the thriving artist, and something where there's this stigma on artistic careers where it's like it's feast or famine kind of, stereotype around it. And there's also so many women that I encounter who have businesses, more traditional businesses, or maybe a coaching business. It's not, their business isn't their art, but they have this really strong artistic side to them, whether that's music or photography or art. And they always ask, how can I integrate this into my business and brand? Like, it's not here on accident, right? So how can I integrate that into my business and without confusing people? So I'm curious if you have any insights around that, how to bring art into your business, if that's a part of you.
That is such a beautiful question. And as the ambassador for the color purple and the crown chakra, I feel like I would just want to say that, at our core, we are spiritual. We are spirits first, before we became earthly, and, we were spirits first. And so I feel like when we connect to our art or our music or our spirituality, our creativity, our existence as creators, our true essence, as we connect with that, we actually find our real power. And when we operate on that level, on those higher levels, we can actually be a lot more powerful. Because when I look at like how I've, in the last couple of years, just been able to travel the world doing exactly what I love, and letting that evolve too with me. Because as I've been evolving spiritually, I've gone through phases of like, okay, I want to do writing and spiritual teaching. And then it's like, different things that I've been wanting to do, web design, and now it's full bloom music. It's because of the spiritual work and my connection with the spirit that I'm able to do this, because I've learned how to have a tangible connection where I can trust the universe, where I know that the law of attraction works, where I can like just know in every fiber of my being that I am a spiritual being having a human experience. And that is the power. Like God, love, divinity is the true power. It's who we are at the core. And the more that we connect with that and unravel all the things that told us that we weren't that, the more powerful and thriving we are.
So what I'm hearing there is it's not so much about like this strategy of how to integrate your art with your business. It's just that your art is really an access point to the truth of who you are. And that is completely powerful and can be a very, very powerful guide to take you and your business to where it needs to go and wants to go.
Yes, and it makes me think of a new song that I wrote, which is, it's all about like living my bliss. And one of the things I talk about is how my life is my art. And Laura Hollick totally walks that. Like her whole studio is like this magical world, and everything about her life is art. And I feel the same about myself. And I feel that, like in this song, I was talking about how like every day I wake and I give thanks for a new opportunity to play. I tune into my core and I ask myself, what would I love to explore? And that is, my life. And I feel too that, when it comes to like spirituality, many people think, oh, I have to sit cross-legged and like try not to think, and then I'll be spiritual. But the truth is, it's like, it's our love, it's our bliss, it's our inspiration and excitement. And I know for me, it's been my own path where I've been following what felt right to me, and it's led me to connection and my own sense of spirituality that is a real relationship that is solid. And I'm so grateful for it. And so I would say to everyone out there, just follow your bliss and enjoy the ride, because our whole lives are art. Our businesses are art. Everything is art, and it's beautiful.
Awesome. I love it. Well, tell us this. What does it mean to you to be a new icon and a business heroine?
I feel like to me it means being courageous, boldly going where no one has gone before in terms of a business heroine, and being like a warrior for my dreams and really just going for it no matter what anyone else is saying. And as for a new icon, I feel like, well, what comes to me actually is my secret middle name, which maybe isn't that much of a secret, but Love Star, which is, I chose it Coral Love Star Flora because I just feel like at the center of who I am, you know, when you take away all the external stuff, I'm just this love star. Like I just love, and I'm light, and I'm just beaming, and I see it in other people as well. And the more that I connect with that essence, that core essence, the more I just feel tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and it's like my life is flowing magically and powerfully in the way that I came here to experience it. And so for me, embodying that icon essence, it's like really just like stepping into that star power, stepping into like the full bloom, full blast, full spectrum of who I really, really, really am, and sharing that so it gives other people the permission to fully, you know, be their true essence and be it in a big, beautiful, bold way that's iconic.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cora, for joining us and sharing your wisdom with us.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you.
Welcome back, Laura.
So you've been on a full journey with the whole rainbow.
Been on this whole journey, and it's been so amazing because, you know, each person has such a unique, different perspective on life and spirituality and business and what it means to be a new icon and what it means to be a business heroine. And at the same time, there were certain themes that just kept coming up. And really, the biggest theme that jumped out at me, and I'm sure that our readers will see other themes that jump out at them too, but one was just authenticity and being you, and really the power of tuning in and tapping into your true essence. So I would love to just round up our conversation today with some words from you about what is really, truly, in a tangible world possible in life and business when you embrace your essence and just go for it no matter what.
Well, really, essence is the foundation. So it's the thing that creates our brand, our marketing, the kind of offers we have, the kind of team we'll have. It's what shapes the structure of our business. So really, when we're connected with who we really are, our own uniqueness, we have got all the material to create our career, create our entrepreneurial path. And so it's really like that. I see it as the foundation. And so what's possible when we have a solid foundation? Well, really anything, because we can truly grow from that place. We know like how we want to build it. A lot of times I'll see people, they'll learn a structure or a template because someone else is successful with that. And yet it may not match who they are. And so it doesn't really take off and they don't experience the success with it. Well, the reason that happens is they didn't build it from the foundation up. And that is what really creates like empowered success, where the person actually feels it on a physical embodied level. And I mean, right now, so many of us are looking at the word embodiment and what it really means. I feel like what it means is that our spirit can exist here, and our spirit is naturally abundant. So the more that we can let our spirit be in this reality, in everything, from the way we go grocery shopping, the way we do our banking, the way we talk to people, that allows us to embody. And in that place, then we create abundance and wealth in our reality. So I see embodiment really as this union between our spiritual realm and the physical realm.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Just having this treat of speaking with 9 of you about what is possible in business and inventing our own paths, inventing our own careers based on who we really are and what we really want to express is such a gift to the Business Heroine community. And so it was such an honor such an honor to be a sponsor for New Icon the movie and to have this conversation. I'm looking forward to our community going on this vision quest through the movie, and thank you so much for this wonderful exclusive interview.
Thank you, Anne. Sending you lots of love.
You too.
You have been watching Business Heroine TV for the entrepreneur who says she will and does. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out what's new at businessheroinemagazine.com today.